Good evening, everyone. Shall we make a start, please? Thank you. Okay. Right. Good evening. Thank you for attending this meeting of the Central Lancashire Strategic Planning Joint Advisory Committee on today's date, Tuesday, the 22nd of November, 2022. The first item for tonight is to appoint a chair. So do I have a proposer?
Yeah, Councillor, if I may, I propose Councillor James Fowler.
Thank you, Caleb. Do I have a second there? I'll take that as a... Thank you very much, everyone. Do we need to vote on that? God, no. That's okay, isn't it? Yeah, vote on that. Yeah, please. Yeah. People who are voting. Yes, thank you. Thanks very much for that. Okay. Okay, agenda item number 2, welcome and introduction. Thank you. For those who don't know me, I am Councillor James Flannery, and I will chair the meeting this evening. I'll begin with some housekeeping. Please can you ensure that your mobile phones are either switched off or turned onto silent. Please raise your hand if you wish to come in on anything. For anyone attending via Teams, can you please keep your microphone muted unless you wish to speak. If you do not, please use your raise hand function and I'll bring you in. Please note that the first part of this meeting today is being streamed live on YouTube. We are not anticipating a fire alarm drill, but if the alarm does go off, you should leave via the fire exit in the wheel room and wait on the grassy area on the west paddock. Right, I'm now moving on to the agenda item 3. So any apologies, Carol, any apologies of absence tonight?
Yes, Chair. We've received apologies from Councillor Alistair Morwood and we have Councillor Margaret France in attendance as substitutes. We've also received apologies from Councillor Martin Boardman, who is going to try and attend on Teams.
Okay, thank you for that. Welcome, Margaret. Okay, item number 4, any declarations of interest? It's a big agenda. So any declarations of interest around the room? None to record. Thank you very much, everyone. Item number 5, minutes of the meeting held on 18th of October 2022. Has anyone got any comments to make about those minutes? And if we don't have, can I have a proposer, please? Or I'll propose them. I can have a second there. Second a day. Thank you very much. Phil's got a grin, but that's okay. You keep that going, Phil. Keep smiling. Thank you very much. That's item number 5. Item number 6. We are going to bring in for this density evidence final report, the first report tonight. I think, Carolyn, it is you tonight, isn't it, doing this one? Where are you? Thanks, Carolyn. So over to you, Carolyn, as always. Welcome and good luck. Cheers.
Thanks, Chair. Yes, so this is an update really on a report that was presented to the committee by the Consultants Hive at the beginning of the year. So this paper just updates you on the position that we are with this work. So Hive Land were commissioned to undertake the study on density in 2021. This is a historical looking piece of work. So it looks at densities that have been delivered across the plan period. One of the things that the main focus of this piece of work is the density zones. So we required the study to put forward a methodology to define zones, and 5 zones you'll note have been put forward. So they cover rural settlement, suburban, inner urban, town centre and Preston city centre and other rural. And there's a definition of those in Appendix 1 of the report, which I won't read. I'm sure you've all looked at those. And then Appendix A to the main report, if you've looked at that, provides a schedule of all the sites that were looked at within each of those zones. So each of the home teams provided a list of a minimum of 10 sort of housing developments. So they were focused on housing ones rather than housing on employment ones. And these were purely to look at what level of housing was delivered on those sites. We had different approaches to how we could look at the density. And if you look at paragraph 14, it sets out the gross density and the net density options. And the gross density is the approach that we've taken. So this looks at the entire area of the site and applies a density to that. And the formula to use is set out below. And the findings are set out in table 1. So I'm not going to go into huge details of these, but it shows you for each area what the different levels of density are that can be delivered. And in conclusion, it puts forward recommendations that could be looked at for a central Lancashire level. Obviously, there will be requirements across each of the 3 councils to consider the density that will work for them. And there are certain areas where we may feel that a collective density doesn't always work. But on average, it's suggesting rural settlements should start to look at a minimum of 27 dwellings per hectare, suburban, same 27, inner urban and town centre 40, Preston City Centre 47, and other rural 21. Clearly, some of those numbers do differ greatly. And within the city centre, it will depend on the type of development we were looking at. So obviously, high rise will be a lot higher density to normal housing that could also be located there. And again, in our town centres, we will have some higher densities than the 40s as well. So where a site is coming forward for master planning, the report also suggests that we should also look at defining the density specifically to those sites. As I'm happy to take any questions on that, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. And that item is recommendation for noting. So does anyone have any comments, please, on that particular item? No? Okay. Well done, Carolyn. Good job again.
Yes,
Oh, sorry,
Chair. Sorry, Chair,
Hang on.
I've got my hand up.
Councillor Whittaker, in you come.
Thank you very much, sir. I just wanted to clarify, did Caroline then just say 20 in rural settlements, 27 dwellings per acre or per hectare?
Per hectare, DPH.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Whittaker. Okay, so no other comments on that. We're going to move on to agenda item 7, Greenbelt and Land Density Stage 1 report. Zoe, this is you, is it? Philippa, welcome this evening, Philippa. It's your first one, so enjoy yourself. Cheers.
Thank you. This report is to update you on the stage 1 assessment of the Greenbelt and landscape sensitivity reports that we've had done by consultants, land use consultants, LUC, who've assessed the strategic role and the function of Central Lancashire's Greenbelt, the valued characteristics of its landscapes and the settings of its settlements and settlement gaps. And they've also reviewed existing policies on landscapes and greenbelts from the 3 authorities and made recommendations for the joint plan approach. They've produced 2 assessments which would be published alongside the preferred options. The first being the Greenbelt assessment, which looks at the role of land, parcels of land against national planning policy framework purposes of the 5 purposes of including land in the Greenbelt. And the study looks at the contribution made by each of the parcels to the 5 Greenbelt purposes. And it also considers the harm that any release of that would have on the purposes of including that land within the Greenbelt. And it also considers, as well as the Greenbelt, it considers similarly restrictive policies, such as protected land policies and areas of other open land. And it's assessed on a parcel by parcel basis, giving a rating for the contribution and harm. The second report is a landscape assessment, which is a strategic assessment of landscape value, settlement settings and settlement gaps, looking at reviewing the contribution to the character of the settlements. And from this assessment, 5 of the landscape areas were assessed as being above ordinary landscape value. There are also, LUC have also made policy recommendations, including based on the policies that each of the authorities have in their existing plans. So, for example, with the open countryside policy, they recommend that this existing policy would be deleted in the Central Lancashire Joint Plan and relying on the spatial strategy instead to direct development towards the appropriate areas, looking at the areas of separation policy, refining the extent and keeping to the sensitive settlement gaps outside the Greenbelt. They recommend a criteria-based approach to settlement setting policy, and they also recommend consolidating and expanding landscape policies within a criteria-based policy approach. So in terms of next steps, these are the initial assessments. So for any potential further work would require additional detailed tests as set out in National Planning Policy Framework for any further work on the Greenbelt or landscape areas. If anybody's got any questions.
Okay, thanks very much, Philippa. Okay, so again, this recommendation is to note this report. Do we have any comments on the report, please? No one on the team. Okay, well, thanks everyone, and well done, Philippa, for your first one. Good.
Excuse me.
Next item is agenda number 8, strategic flood risk evidence and next steps. Zoe, this is you, isn't it? Oh, Carolyn, sorry. Okay, I'll get you. I will get you, Zoe. Right, Carolyn, thank you.
Thanks, Chair. Yes, I'm picking up this item for Zoe this evening. So this is just updating members of the committee on the work we've been doing on flood risk assessments. So the level 1 strategic flood risk assessment was undertaken last year and updated following further additional sites coming forward. And then we were looking to commission and move forward, if you recall, to a level 2 strategic flood risk assessment. However, as set out in the report, we all note that the government have introduced significant changes to the planning policy guidance, which assists us in understanding how to work around the flood risk guidance within National Planning Policy Framework. And within that guidance, there are significant changes to how we should prepare and what needs to go into a strategic flood risk assessment. So there's quite a lot set out in paragraph 10 of the report, setting out the changes that have been required to this, and the specific ones which look at surface water. So where it was a consideration before, the sites that fall within there, the consideration to them has been raised, which means that more sites that we perhaps had not considered to be lead of a sequential test and taking forward to level 2 may now move into a higher level of flood risk. And there are a number of other concerns put in there as well. So for us as plan making authority, we now need to make sure that the documentation that we prepare is fit for purpose and sound. That requires us to review and update the strategic flood risk assessment. And you'll see we have got proposals from our consultants, JBA, to do that. In order to ensure that what we do produce is robust and meets those requirements, we have met with the lead local flood authority, which is Lancashire County Council, and the environment agencies to ensure that the approach taken is fit for purpose and would be something that they would be willing to sign off. And you'll indicate there's a cost of just over 14,000 to do that. However, to commission this piece of work, we are also looking at the best approach to do that and to also commission that in line with work we need to take forward on stage 2. However, we don't yet know the cost of the stage 2 until we know how many sites may well be affected or changed due to the updates to the level 1. So that's something that we're currently looking at the moment. But so the main issues to note with this is the fact that the guidance has significantly changed. Sites that may not have had a consideration for flood risk before, as indicated currently through work we're doing on site assessments, may well over the next couple of months be ones that will now identify as having a flood risk. So as we move towards the next stage of the preferred options, we will get that information known and we will be able to work with the lead local flood authority and the environment agency to understand what the implications will be and if any of those sites need to be taken forward for sequential test. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks for that, Carolyn. Good piece of work, and again, a very important element of what we're all trying to achieve here. So again, this item's for noting. Do we have any comments from the group? No one on team.
Chair.
Oh, yeah, Marcus.
Sorry, just to check, and I apologise if you covered this. I might have zoned out on my item next. Have you've got the full involvement of the county council in its capacity as lead flood authority in this regard?
Yeah, we've been working with your team. So the lead local flood authority are in there, and you'll notice that on the appendix, Elliot has provided as a response. So we met with the environment agency and the lead local flood authority to understand what they would be. We've had really detailed meetings with them, and to the point that we were kind of asking you to put in writing what you wanted us to do, because we know that the changes are so significant. At the time, the county have been concentrating on the development management process, so they've come back to us and said, you know, they're happy with this approach now, but we will work with them. And if you recall, when we did the level 1, we had a panel which oversaw the delivery of the strategic flood risk assessment, and the environment agency and the lead local flood authority, being yourselves and United Utilities, are on that panel and have agreed to go onto that panel going forward. So we will have full involvement of yourselves.
Thanks, Carolyn. And Zoe very kindly has pointed out that in the appendices there is a letter from the county council. So I'm holding my hand up right now in terms of the work that I did. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thanks for that entertainment, Marcus. We appreciate it. Okay, everyone, thanks for that. So that was again for noting, as we said. So we're now on to item number 9, consultation plan update. And I'm looking at Carolyn again, yes?
You are, and I am going to now attempt to share a screen on a computer that I've never used before. So this is going to be fun. I need to find in my document. If you just give me a second, apologies for this, because I've joined the meeting. what I might need to do is leave this meeting and open a document. This is where it gets complicated now. All I'm going to do is to share with you a document that I put forward of events. So I need to open that first, don't I, before I needed to share. This is what you need to do. So apologies for it. Won't be a second.
Ellen, don't worry, just take your time.
Trying to open it. Oh, there we go, download. Let's join the meeting. The document now. Wait a second. Right. Got the documents up now.
When I said take your time, Carolyn,
I am trying to find it now. I've opened it now, so I'm hoping that if I can find the document. This is what I now need to do, is find the document then. So that's so it's not coming up yet, is it? It's doing something. Yay! Wonders never cease. So this document just sets out the consultation events that we're looking to hold over the course of the consultation on the local plan. So if you recall, at the last JAC, we talked about the drop-in sessions that we would be holding. The same format will happen as last time. So we will have a series of drop-in events across each of the 3 councils. These have been agreed with the local plan working groups within those areas as areas that they will happily look at hosting events in. And at those sessions, we will have copies of maps, and we will have copies of the documentation for members of the public to view. There will be officers from each of the councils available. So if you're in Chorley, you'll have Chorley officers and a central team member, South Ribble members, Preston officers. Is it showing? Make it bigger. No problem. That's make it more central. No way around. Is that better? Let me see it. So this is subject to change. So it just shows you surely the locations that we're looking at. So they're holding one in each ward. So there are 14 wards, but there are some areas where, due to the size of the wards, there have been additional events that are being held in that location. So I'm not going to go through each one with you because, as I say, the locations may well change. For Preston, there are slightly less events, so they're hosting theirs in the city centre and key wards where development is proposed, and South Ribble are proposing theirs to be within the what were called neighbourhood priority areas, but I think it's changed the name now. Community hubs, thank you. I knew it had changed, but I couldn't remember it was changed too. So this is just indicating roughly when they will be and where they will be held. So at the moment, as I say, we're just in finalising the venues. There won't be dates for everything there because we're in negotiations with officers to make sure they're available, but they will all be within the new year. I think there's one of them which is being held here on the same night as council, for instance, so members can attend. So we will provide you within the next few weeks a list of where all those events are going to take place. One thing to note as well, we are looking to provide an extra 2 weeks of the consultation. So if you recall, it was originally proposed to end on the 10th of February. We're now proposing to add an extra 2 weeks, which will take it to the 24th of February. And this is just to allow us to go around all the areas to ensure that communities have the opportunity to speak to officers and to give additional time where we know that there is school holidays in there, which may impact on people's ability to respond. So we've got the Christmas break and the half-term break, but it was just to update you, Chair, on those events. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for Carolyn, and obviously that's available report, which is well presented again. Pretty straightforward. Any comments? No. Okay. Right. Before I go on to the next agenda item, I know there's some experienced councillors and officers in this room, but can I just say it took 20 minutes to do 506 pages of report. That must be a record. 506 pages of information we've just gone through there. 20 minutes, Alistair. Come on, you don't get that at Chorley. Aye. Right, okay.
You'd read every page, hadn't you, Chair?
I have. Well, I know who has. Phil Smith reads everything, Phil. Don't you, Phil? You read everything. Okay, right. So that's the fun's over. Agenda item number 10, date of future meetings. So the next one, David, is with you on the 6th of Feb, and then back up down to lovely Chorley, Alistair, in March. So, okay, that more or less concludes part 1 of the meeting. So item number 11, can I have a proposer, please? Unfortunately, we're going to have to exclude the press and the public. Sorry, Councillor Smith, and then Councillor Burrow first. Councillor Smith. Yeah. Did you not indicate to speak?
No, I didn't, Chair. No.
Sorry, it's okay. It's Councillor Burrow, and then
Can I move the going below the line resolution as listed in the documents before us?
very professional, Dave. Thanks very much. That's what I expect. Was someone else wishing to speak this side? No? Alistair, no?
I'll second that, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay, all in favour, yeah? Good. So we'll exclude the press and public. Right. Okay. Okay, just going to hang fire until we get rid of the YouTube stream, please. If anyone wants a break, get a glass of water. We've been here for a long time.